The town of Silent Hollow was aptly named. Time seemed to have forgotten this place. The houses stood in various states of disrepair. The roads were cracked and overgrown, and at the edge of the forgotten town stood the library. It was a grand old building with towering spires and Gothic architecture. The windows were dark like empty eyes staring out at the world. The library had been closed for decades. Locals whispered of strange noises and cold spots. It was said to be haunted. Clara was not a girl to be deterred by local legends. She was curious and adventurous. The old library, with its air of mystery, drew her in like a moth to a flame. It was a chilly October night when Clara decided to explore the library. The wind howled like a banshee. The trees swayed ominously, their branches casting eerie shadows. But Clara was determined. She approached the imposing oak doors of the library and took a deep breath. The air inside the library was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Clara shivered, her breath misting in the cold air. She could hear the sound of her own heartbeat echoing in the silence. As she ventured deeper into the library, she thought she heard whispers. Soft, unintelligible murmurs seemed to emanate from the shelves. She stopped, listening intently, but the whispers faded into the silence. Clara shook her head, attributing the sounds to her imagination. She continued her exploration, running her fingers along the spines of the books. Many of them seemed ancient, their leather covers crumbling with age. She came to a hallway that was particularly dark and foreboding. At the end of the hallway, she spotted a door. It was locked, a heavy padlock securing it. Curiosity got the better of her. She rattled the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. She peered through the keyhole, but it was too dark to see anything. Clara found an old rusty key hidden behind a loose brick. With a trembling hand, she inserted the key into the lock and turned. The door creaked open, revealing a small, dusty room. In the center of the room sat a table. Upon the table lay a single book. Its pages were yellowed and tattered. As Clara reached for the book, she felt a cold chill run down her spine. A voice whispered in her ear, "Help me!" Clara jumped back, startled. She looked around the room, but there was no one there. She realized that the voice had come from the book. Cautiously, she picked it up and began to read. The story was about a young writer who had been trapped inside his own book by an evil sorcerer. The writer was desperate to finish his story, believing that doing so would break the curse. But he was missing the last page. Clara realized with a start that the book in her hands was the very same story. She quickly flipped to the end of the book. As she had suspected, the last page was missing. She could feel the spirit of the writer watching her, his hope hanging on her every move. Clara knew what she had to do. She took a deep breath and began to write. Words flowed from her pen effortlessly, as if guided by an unseen hand. As she wrote the last words of the story, a bright light filled the room. Clara had to shield her eyes. When the light subsided, the book was gone. The room was empty, except for a single feather that floated gently to the ground. Clara picked up the feather, a feeling of peace washing over her. The spirit was free. The library was silent once more. The whispers were gone. The only sound was the beating of Clara's own heart. Clara left the library, the feather tucked safely in her pocket. As she walked away, she couldn't shake the feeling that the library wasn't entirely free from its mysterious past. She glanced back at the building, its silhouette stark against the moonlight. A single light flickered in one of the high windows, then vanished. Clara shivered. Some stories, she realized, never truly end. They just fade into the shadows, waiting to be discovered again.